Real Housewives group chat. We got to talk about the entire season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We'll do it quickly, but we do have to get into a couple of things. I'm RAYCH Rach Jackson. Here we go.
Welcome to Ray Jackson's YouTube channel. Make sure you hit subscribe. Yeah.
We start the season off with such fun, except someone's missing, right? Lisa Barlow doesn't show up to the RV trip. And it's very clear from that point on, from that discussion at that table, that it indeed is a Lisa Barlow takedown season. Now, here's the thing. Y'all jump on me, or, if you follow me on TikTok when I be talking episode by episode, love her or hate her, Lisa Barlow deserves a takedown season because she be tripping. The problem is, it was the fan favorites who have surface level issues with Lisa versus the people who have deep-rooted issues with Lisa really attacking. And the deep-rooted, in my opinion, is Bronwyn and Angie have deep-rooted issues with Lisa. Heather and Whitney, it just was so surface level. And in fact, y'all, when I went back to my notes to, make this video, and I'm looking at them right there, Heather at the beginning of season 6 was the one who relayed all the info back to Lisa about what they said in the RV trip. Heather took a lot of blows from Lisa and Meredith's stands, but Heather's been the same person. She just changed her face a little bit and lost weight, but she's been the same person, and she will even tell you that, right? Heather goes in between, tries to stir up mess because her and Whitney don't be having no stories. They used to, but definitely not in season 6, which is why that intense focus on Lisa Barlow from the very beginning of the season was very phony of Heather. And I'm so glad by the end of the season, Lisa was like, oh, you really don't rock with me, Heather. We'll get to that in a second about that boat argument, okay? The RV trip also represented so much fun, right? We got the ladies enjoying each other, even if they beefing and saying some shady stuff to Brittany, which they was gonna do anyway. Lisa ended up not filming with them, so they obviously were gonna talk about her behind her back. But the way they bonded with each other, I really enjoyed. Like the RV getting stuck in the snow and everybody trying to push it, and Mary staying on the bus. Mary staying on the bus. There were just so many high hopes, and they just get dark so quickly, like a lot of Real Housewives in the later stages do. But it started off so lighthearted that I was excited for this season, and I didn't hate the season as much as other people did. But again, they strayed. They strayed from where they started from, right? But comparing Lisa Barlow to Jen Shah in the first group filming of the season, everybody knew what they were doing. Everybody. As delusional as everyone says Lisa Barlow is, one thing was for sure. She understood by not going on that RV trip, and there was side talk about behind the scenes that she was negotiating a contract. I don't know. She didn't come to the first group film scene, whatever. She understood that she was going to be a target, and how she moved after that just determined the whole tone for the season. Well, everyone understood Lisa was the target, and that set the whole tone. We go from the RV trip to Lisa's dinner and her where she's putting all of her court cases on display, and we get in all of these deep arguments that's happening. The one socialite, we never see her again. There's one moment of the argument between Lisa and Whitney during the contract on the poster boards where Whitney stands up, she throws a napkin on her face, she walks around the table, she gets physical with Lisa. Whitney and Heather be handsy, bro. That's one thing that, all right. And then she storms off, and it was an episode cliffhanger. And if you remember, I said I would watch a Lisa versus Whitney season if Lisa took Whitney seriously. She don't. And it's just so interesting how little, how not serious Lisa takes Whitney, and how much Whitney wants her to, whether she wants a battle, whether she wants her respect, because let's be for real, they're never going to be friends. But even the idea of you sitting chill when someone throws a napkin in your face and she's coming around, she was like, what's up, right? Let's talk. We go from that to the boat. let's talk about the boat. Oh, I'm sorry. I do need to back up to Gout Dick Sucker. How could I have forgotten to talk about Gout Dick Sucker? That argument between Lisa and Bronwyn at and I keep calling her the socialite, but what was her name? Hold on. Amy Steele. Yeah, she got up out of there. She had one event at her house, went to one dinner with them ladies and was like, I'm chilling. Whatever y'all got going on, I'm good. But back to my original point about the Lisa versus Bronwyn deep-rooted issue. When they were arguing and going toe-to-toe, Bronwyn had stamina. She kept going. Lisa's throwing out this. Lisa's throwing out that. Gout Dick Sucker, hilarious. It sticks. But Bronwyn at the end of the day is like, it's my husband at the time, right? Later on, they're, divorced. Or, sorry, separated. But that's my husband. And I'm like, yeah. Lisa, when I was making my video, I'm like, Gout Dick Sucker is funny, but at the end of the day, you making fun of a woman for having sex with her husband, it's just not gonna fly. However, in those two moments, Lisa understood this was her takedown season, and at this point, she thought she could trust Heather. Now, that boat trip is where she saw the light, because remember, while it's the takedown Lisa season, we are getting sprinkles of the ladies and their outside lives, which is what I really am interested to see. And, we're getting a peek into hearing about Whitney and her business failing. Robert Jr. is not doing well his sobriety. Mary's sharing that. We are getting a peek into the ladies' lives while Lisa is still scrambling and trying to figure out, is she going down this season? Before the boat ride, I do want to talk about the wine tasting, psychic reading episode. And that actually was probably what my issue was with Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, how they were doing some of the episodes. It felt like the scenes were going on too long. I might be in the minority with this because I did see so many people praise that episode of like, oh my God, we had one episode and they just sat down and it was just so much stuff going on that they couldn't cut it out. I hear you. I don't hear you, but I hear you. And I think that some of the arguments in general go so long. I think making that scene, that one setting, for an entire episode. In that luncheon, we got a lot of funny moments, a lot of angry moments. They're going Chanel for black card, Lisa and Angie. We have, Heather and Bronwyn been made peace. Heather also had to accept that Bronwyn wasn't going nowhere, for the record. Whether she wanted Bronwyn fired or whether she just thought her ice out against Bronwyn last season was supposed to work, Heather is perplexed by Bronwyn and became her friend. It seems like she became her friend because Bronwyn stood 10 toes, right? We also get an argument between Mary and Angie, which was very interesting, where I understood Mary's point, but she took Angie not listening to her personally. And that's when Angie was arguing with Lisa and they're going blow for blow for blow for blow. And Mary is trying to calm Angie down and telling her like, yo, you looking crazy. And Angie is still getting the last word with Lisa that Mary storms off. And this is why I say I think that Lisa and Angie and Lisa and Bronwyn are the ones who have the deep-rooted issues with each other versus a Whitney and Heather, because Lisa continues to spar. It's just the way those two groups go at it that I like to see. It's sad, boom, 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 but Angie couldn't even snap out of it when Mary was trying to get her attention. Mary took it personally though. Like that's where I don't think that it wasn't personally. It's just, I really don't like this bitch, bro. And I'm gonna get these words off real quick. I get it. Like we trying to act high and mighty, but I don't fuck with Shorty is what Angie was doing. But that whole episode of was it a luncheon, wine tasting, that, like tarot card, whatever they had going on, it just was, you look left is something going on. You look right is something going on. And I feel like a lot of people liked that. For me, I listen, we watch Real Housewives for the chaos. I guess my issue is that episode was number 5. That was episode 5. It set the tone for the rest of the season 2. I keep saying that. I'm sorry. I'm like, everything that set the tone for the rest of the season. Having that really set the tone for the rest of the season, where we were just going to see drawn out long arguments no matter what. And we are not focusing on the ladies, I guess, and their interesting lives. And then, the next big event is them crossover episodes with Below the Deck And when they on that boat, the boat in general already was just a lot of tensions. And Bronwyn got on a separate flight because, remember, things leaked about her past where them records was sealed. Remember, if you about to go on TV and you don't want nobody all up in your business, seal them records. But she was really nervous because, yeah, now that it's out, while they're filming, someone is going to bring it up. But the entire boat ride was floated around the idea of who leaked the information, who could have done it, and they all pointed the finger at Lisa. And for the next, how many episodes was they on that damn boat? 3? All, again, focusing on Lisa takedown over and over and over again. Now, this is where Lisa lost a lot of us, right? Because I'm not truly on Lisa's side. I think she deserves this takedown. I just think it's done so sloppily by the hands of Heather and Whitney, where I feel like if Bronwyn really took the reins, she could have gone toe to toe with Lisa. But remember, they even had their sidebar where they called another truce at whatever venue bar that Lisa owns. If you remember that scene where they were like, okay, another truce. Girl, we're doing so many truces. If Bronwyn took the reins for this takedown season, Lisa, you would have been in trouble. I did enjoy the boat episodes. I like watching them have fun together. And even when they beef, it's some issues. But Brittany was a key factor on the boat, which will lead us to the plane. Don't worry, we'll get there. Where Brittany is smart in so many ways and dumb when it comes to that man and how she treats her daughters. But Brittany always has something in her back pocket. And on the boat where Brittany thought she was cool with everybody, hey, y'all, pour water on her if she talks about Jared. She thinks she's bonding with these ladies, but she has dirt about each one if they turn on her, like a real housewife should, but she is a friend of. So in the midst of everyone trying to pin stories leaking, this latest thing was Bronwyn's record, there is this huge beef that's happening with Brittany and Meredith because Meredith still ain't forgive her for being like, you threw up. She was throwing up. That is what Meredith is still mad about. Simple that. She hasn't even gotten to the seizures moment, right? Because in my opinion, Brittany wasn't saying seizures. She was stretching like, oh girl, shorty be tripping, like she be having seizures. That's what I thought she meant until she got to the reunion and started crying and was like, my daughter have seizures. And I was like, all right, you lost me again, Brittany. But Brittany versus Meredith, that storm always was brewing from last season. So now Brittany's like, okay, Meredith, you want to be shady about me throwing up when I'm seasick? She was drunk. It is like she was drunk, but like, okay, who ain't been on a girls trip and drunk and threw up? It was just so targeted. Meredith just genuinely doesn't like Brittany from last season. So Brittany was like, oh, you finna talk about me throwing up? Didn't your husband cheat on you? In the midst of everyone trying to focus on Lisa, Meredith entered the chat and joined the Lisa Meredith takedown, because it was a Lisa only takedown season. Because remember, Meredith wasn't saying nothing to defend Lisa. Oh my God. At the beginning of the season, everybody kind of pointed out like, girl, you gonna stick up for your friend? When Meredith jumped in the scene and started attacking Brittany on that plane, it became an anti-Lisa, anti-Meredith season. One last thing before we get to the plane, the stain of the season. Oh my God. The argument where Heather says to that whole table, Lisa, I do think you're the leak. And Lisa like freaks out, goes across the table to try to get to Heather to talk to her, to convince her. She's like, Heather, you the one who was telling me all this information about these ladies at the beginning of the season with the RV. You was telling me how they was comparing me to Jen Shaw. Heather, you doing all this stuff. You have my back. And how could you say this about me? And Heather, such manipulation. I'm your friend. Just admit it. Remember, like Lisa storms off crying and Heather like grabs her arm and Lisa snatches. I'm your friend. Just admit it. It's okay. It's okay that you talk to the blogs. It's okay that you leak stories. Just admit it. I'm your friend. Manipulation. Manipulation. If it was Lisa, if it wasn't Lisa, it is not smart to admit anything, to admit that you leaked anything to the blogs or talk to the blogs. And I've talked to you all about this on my TikTok about Katie from Real Housewives of Orange County, where I was like, why does she keep trying to take accountability on a show where don't do that? I hated that for her, and now she fired. But when Heather was trying to convince Lisa that she should just admit that she was the leak. Meredith didn't say nothing. That is where Lisa realized, oh, Heather really don't have my back. I think she kept thinking that lady cared about her. and maybe it's some type of care, but for the show, no ma'am, you are under that bus. Bronwyn also has been, at this time, she again relays some information to Meredith that how Brittany's been moving. Meredith and Bronwyn throw Brittany's unicorn over the boat and they just target her. Like, it's kind of easy to dunk on Brittany in the viewer's eyes and clearly in the cast eyes. I feel like Brittany understands this and she is very good at her comebacks. Again, you making fun of me throwing up, don't your husband cheat on you? Like, whoa, that was targeted and planned. And we get to the plane. Oh yes, we done got to the plane. It's so many different stories, and Meredith should have just owned that she didn't like Brittany. I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. Viewers probably would have been like, yeah, girl, she talked bad about you and your husband's marriage. But instead, we had a massive denial. We had the story being stretched. If you notice, Heather and Whitney's version didn't align fully with Mary's, but Mary's was somewhere in the middle. But Meredith and Lisa's was, oh, we never even talked bad about that girl. Either way, Brittany's getting off the plane sobbing, and it just overshadows everything. Where were the phones? I truly think a reason we don't have what happened on that plane is some legality. Because everybody pulls out their phone. Even if it's on airplane mode, your camera still work. So the producer was in coach. That's what they said at the reunion. Oh, they were in a different section of the plane. So the producer was writing coach. The descent of the plane is where a lot of it happened, apparently. So they couldn't pull. Yes, you can. It's a small device. Either way, I think that a part of them hanging on to what happened on the airplane is because they thought that the viewers were going to be able to see the footage. And because we didn't see the footage, it's not that I didn't care what happened on that plane. I didn't care as much as they wanted me to, as Heather and Whitney wanted me to. I didn't care. And we didn't see it. Okay, it's a point of contention. But if you're building your whole beef with someone on something that the viewers can't see, it falls flat. And in my opinion, I think they thought it wasn't going to fall. I don't know. It fell flat because Meredith wasn't admitting nothing. Oh my God. Like, and she should have, right? But what have we seen in Meredith in the past, 6 seasons of her ever admitting anything? And people are like, oh my God, you seem to like Meredith this season. Like, I flip-flop on all of them. That's what makes Salt Lake City so enjoyable, is that, one season you could really like someone, another season you could really not like them, and it doesn't, like, I don't know. When you pick a side and stay with that side, that was the earlier one. That was the earlier Housewives franchises. Okay, I would choose a side and stay there. Now, I'm ebb and flow. Because we didn't get a video evidence, there was no reason for it to hang on to the season like it did. Like, I'm literally pulling up my notes, and the next from the plane episode happens, end of episode 9, beginning of episode 10. From then until episode 19, which 17, 18, 19 is the reunion, we kept hearing about that plane ride incident and we couldn't see it. But I think the goal, again, we're talking about the Lisa takedown season. They were focusing on how Lisa was egging Meredith on a lot at first. And then they kind of switched to like, yeah, Meredith, you were tripping too. The goal was Lisa. Meredith, you jumped in because you was tripping. I just feel, yeah, wasted time. We did get that high body count hair party out of it where they, threw to support Brittany. And I thought that was cute. I liked that. I like moments where, you tailor a quip into a party. Think about, my mind is immediately going to Real Housewives of Potomac, the family fun day where Ashley brought the catfish. Angel should have brought the catfish. Like, everybody say I'm a catfish, here, I brought it. But that was another moment to dig at you, so Ashley brought it. When it comes to the high body count hair moment, they support it. Brittany in that moment. And then she trademarked it. And I understood why Angie was upset, but I didn't understand it because in the history of Real Housewives, one thing they gonna do is they gonna take an insult and they gonna make money off of it. Okay, Candy, the dungeon. I'm worldwide. I'm only on Atlanta. I'm worldwide. So yeah, episode 10 is them consoling Brittany, talking about what happened, Meredith saying it never happened, and somewhere around the middle, we know Meredith snapped on that girl for talking bad about her husband, but we did not move on. The ladies visit Mary at her church, and, you know, we get Heather seemingly twerking to gospel music. Then they have that very long brunch, and I just told you all, them very long scenes be drawn out where they just kept trying to convince Meredith to admit it on camera. And then we got this thing of, well, what was the Crazy Rich Asians? How did that end? Oh, I was listening to Kendrick Lamar. They're funny moments, but at the end of the day, they should have moved on, and then they didn't. And then in the next episode, we're on episode 12, right? This is, you know, where Bronwyn hosts, she's gotten her citizenship, and she hosts the tea party, and then they beef about the plane ride, of course, but now it's really... I brought drug tests while slurring. I thought that was so funny. Meredith be slurring, bro. Like, and you know, while slurring, while a little lit and angry, she's like, well, we could all take a drug test if there are no drugs in my system. Just alcohol, girl. I know that's right. But like with Whitney and Heather, when she pointed like you, and she also pointed at Brittany, that actually became a moment of contention in the reunion because Heather took such offense to that for some reason. You're calling me a liar? F you. And if you have been watching my videos on TikTok, you know when I'm finna bring up about Heather. Girl. Like, it is so crazy that Heather could be so offended in being called a liar when you lied about Jen Shaw beating you up, girl. She punched you and gave you a black eye and you blame production. Huh? We gonna get to the reunion moment where Meredith blames production and all of a sudden everybody gets up in arms. But you know, we're going in chronological order right now. But Heather, you blame production too. Like, it's just the way Heather refused to really show us any realness this season, other than like throwing a mattress overboard with Whitney, and, you know, a curated moment where her final oldest daughter is going off to college. We don't know nothing about that lady, and that sucks because, again, season 1 through 4, Heather for sure was showing us her life. She was showing us her weight journey, how she's feeling about like her businesses, her Bad Mormon, her book tour, all of this stuff. Oh, she just decided she don't got to do that no more, girl. So at that tea party is when we really get Whitney being like, yeah, you're a pill popper and an alcoholic. And then at the reunion, I'm sorry, I keep bouncing between those two moments. I said it out of anger because you called me a liar. I'm sorry. Being called a liar versus a pill popper and alcoholic, like, what are we talking about? Like, you making me side with Meredith, bro. And it's just, well, I never really, in these past couple of seasons, I haven't really liked Whitney either, but it just didn't make sense. So the tea party, everybody remembers the wigs and the explosive moments. I remember a specific moment where Heather decided to never forgive Meredith for calling her a liar. And that was so funny to me because I was like, pot calling the kettle, huh? Then for the next 4 episodes, they in Greece. Right? You know, in the daytime they have fun and at nighttime they don't. Meredith is crying because she can't talk to her son. It was clearly deflection. However, I think at some point the way to really deal with Meredith, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Maybe when Lisa and Meredith were beefing, Lisa was the one showed how to beef with Meredith, and that is just to really hammer in all her dirty business she told her. Other than that, there has not been a worthy opponent against Meredith. Angie. Sorry, I take that back. When Angie was really beefing with Meredith, she kept her on her toes. Now, it doesn't seem like Angie cares to beef with Meredith. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't seem like Lisa cares to beef with Meredith. So who do we have left? Heather and Whitney. Because Brittany accepted a half-assed apology, which was crazy. I think that Meredith stonewalled her way through this season like we knew was coming because we've seen her do it in other seasons. But when it came to Greece, it was just 4 full episodes of them still trying to beef with Meredith and Lisa. And I hated that. I hated that because they were in Greece, okay? Their photo shoots were beautiful. The food, beautiful. Oh my God. Like, it looked so fun until it wasn't. I think that their focus should have been having fun with each other. We do get this moment where Mary is crying about her concern with Meredith, where I feel like part of that was genuine. And then I also feel like a part of it was just her specifically connecting to what she's going through with Robert Jr. I feel like the rest of the ladies leached on that concern and just wanted a moment. I wonder too, because earlier in that season, we got Lisa saying that Todd was farting and kissing in New York. That rumor going on, right? Which Todd be out here. And shout out Bronwyn for being able to step away, because sloppily cheating, bro. Like, not even like creatively cheating. Okay. You scrolling on at lingerie photos on a plane. Like, have some respect and cheat in private, for real, for real. Anyway, but in Greece, Bronwyn mentions Seth, she saw him out in New York with someone. And I don't know what it was. You know, when she just nods and she drops the tea, and then she acts like, I don't know who it was. It could have been no one. It could have been a business partner. No, you said it to be messy, and that's okay, because it's a messy show. But it really is Meredith. You friends with Lisa, and Lisa was talking bad about my husband. So now Meredith, here you go. Finna talk about your husband. And then Bronwyn confirms this in the reunion, by the way. Did you catch that moment where Bronwyn was like, are you my friend or not? I'm telling everybody business back to you. I'm relaying the messages to you, and you still befriending a woman who is talking bad about my marriage? Oh yeah, I saw Seth. I saw Seth in New York. I seen Seth. There was no genuine motive behind that. I'm always tickled when housewives act like it's just like this genuine motive instead of it's revenge. And if you stand in it, we behind you, okay? One of the final moments of the entire Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 6 saga is that play. And I also love when housewives plan very shady, mean events and then surprised. Oh my gosh, like, Angie, that was so, like, that play was mean and grimy, and they read every single person for filth, and every single person was offended. I loved how angry Mary got. Mary was so upset. They're not gonna tell me who I am. Like everybody was upset. Everybody was breaking down. Lisa tried to have a moment of clarity, and then they shut her down. And then here comes, wait, let me look at my notes because I don't want to get this wrong. Y'all, my notes from January 7th, because the episode happened on January 6th. Next day it's on Peacock. My notes literally say, Heather said it's too chummy in here. Let me jump on Meredith. They just watched the play. Everybody feeling their emotions. Lisa about to have a moment of clarity, and Heather says, hey, by the way, Meredith, didn't you do that on the play? Like, let it go. Meredith, we haven't really been feeling each other. Let it go. You wanted an explosive moment. You got it. But Lisa made the right decision trying to get Meredith out there. And who follows all touchy-feely with them hands pulling and grabbing? Whitney. At one point, Heather starts sobbing in her chair, and everyone starts consoling her as Meredith and Lisa walk away, except Mary. And that was so funny to me because Mary was like, girl, you drunk. Why are you sobbing? Okay. Like, what is really going on? And, we end the note of Real Housewives before the reunion. We end that note that their friendships, they don't know if they'll ever be the same. I feel like that was the moment they were going for, but the moment for me that I took in, where is the joy? Where was the fun? Like, there was a it was a decision to not enjoy the moment, to not have positive interactions. It was a choice to make sure that Heather and Whitney had that final moment with Lisa, with Meredith. And that was so annoying. Like, let's get back to Mary being upset that what the play said about her. Like, Bronwyn, like they were upset and they were dealing with them feelings. Let's get back to that. Was more entertaining to me than Heather sobbing for no reason. And when it comes to the reunion, because you all know I did part by part on my TikTok, but now we're talking here. When it comes to the reunion, y'all, everybody was some people seem like they were surprised. When Meredith got to blaming production and everybody started crying, I said, give it a rest. Meredith was trying to have off-camera conversations with Heather, which happens often when they're actually friends. Heather only wanted to have conversations in front of camera, which happens when they're not friends. So it is what it is. Meredith was like, we ain't cool, we ain't cool. Okay. And Heather, it just seemed like anything Meredith said really rocked Heather's world. Like, I screeched at you, screeched. Like, girl, why was that so hard for you, right? In the reunion, we also get this explosive like bomb drop that Bronwyn is separating from Todd. And I had told you all when I ran into her at BravoCon, she literally was like, tell your followers like me and Todd are still together. She showed the ring. I clipped it in my like day in the life of like, you know, me being invited out and like just I really love this. I'm grateful that y'all are even watching this far. Like if you made it this far, damn, like you really rocking with me. But the thing that I said made her remember and come to me and be like, man, like stop talking bad about my marriage. Is I basically was like, hey man, if that's out here sloppily cheating, you don't gotta pretend to want to open marriage. You don't gotta open your bedroom to no young lady and eat coochie with tears. You don't gotta have an empty bed at night since you gave him the go for an open relationship. Leave that cheating where he at. Like when Bronwyn said that Gwen, her daughter, even though she's older, like her daughter's what, in 20, 21 or something like that, her daughter had looked over Todd's shoulder and seen him text another lady, and that's how she found out he was cheating the first time. Hang it up. Hang it up. So yeah, she's on stage saying that she's separated from Todd, trying to have this moment. And who makes the moment about her, y'all? Whitney. Y'all, I hollered. So many people. Whitney been flopping all season, right? We got like one episode of her talking about how Justin and her, he made a financial decision she didn't like. And when you really look into it, like they did a deep dive on Reddit. I kind of tried to scroll through there, but like y'all take that's real deep over there. But basically it seemed like, you know, somebody put the pieces together that it might have been an MLM and it was going to get exposed. So Justin used that money to like separate the company or something like that. I don't know. Either way, in that moment of Bronwyn talking about Todd, Whitney said, I need to run off and see Justin. That's right, girl. Fake a divorce to get placement in the next season. I know that they cut up so much. I know a lot of time passed in between that where, you know, it didn't immediately happen the way I'm describing it in the episode. However, it really did look like Whitney said, oh no, let me have a moment on my own. And you know what? The difference between Brittany Stormoff and Whitney Stormoff is the cameras follow Whitney. They sure did. We saw the door close with Brittany. The cameras follow Whitney for sure. Full-time versus friend of, or definitely coming back next season versus not. Who knows? In the reunion, they also bring up Mary's documentary, and I still haven't got a chance to watch it. I need to. But I was talking with a friend who went to an advanced screening, and they're basically saying, like, no, it is juicy. Parts of it that we've heard of before, but it's a lot of her family. And so, you know, they bring it up at the reunion, and she says it's sad, but I got my people. And then they move on. We talk about Robert Jr. Robert Jr. is still in jail. And she's like, I don't want him to be dead. It was really heavy. And that's why I think with her connecting it to Meredith do be tripping. Shorty do be a little saucy. I think it was a little bit of projection on Mary's part as well. Two things could be true at once. Also, as much as Angie literally put together that Greece trip and I loved it, I thought she gave luxury, fun activities and all of that. We didn't really get much of her story this season, whether they cut it out, whether she didn't give it. You know, yes, she's beefing with Lisa. Yes, she planned the Greece trip, but like, you know, her daughter's trying to get her daughter her Greece citizenship. And then also we get like a scene inside her hair salon. And this is not so much a critique about Angie as much as all the other ladies of like, my arm is like, I'm holding my laptop, trying to make sure I got my notes right with y'all, you know? These are ladies that are business owners. This could have been more of their story. Like, we could have seen so much more of them than them beefing with each other. Like, even in this season recap where I'm going episode by episode and showing you all like the threads between each feud, I would have loved to tell you all the threads of each of their storylines as well. I don't know if this is a production thing or what the ladies are going to give, but something got to give in season 7 when it comes to cutting out how interesting their lives are and only focusing on feuds. Meredith is a DJ. We ain't seen her learn how to do the tables. We didn't see her plan with her business partner how to set up the tour. Now, either that was cut out or y'all just really only focused on the feuds, and that is what's frustrating. I don't only want to see that. Again, we start season 1 off learning the most bizarre stories about these ladies. Season 2, Jen Shaw gets a call, runs off a Sprinter van, pulls off as Homeland Security is looking for her on that Sprinter van. Like, there are moments where these ladies got a lot going on. Let's not forget that. You feel me? All in all, Lisa survived her Ice Out takedown season with the help of Meredith jumping in front of bullets on accident, on a plane, who knows? I feel like the reunion left the will they, won't they in the air between Angie and Lisa and Bronwyn. And if they unite again, or at least call it truce, watch out, Heather. Watch out, Whitney. Maybe that's why Whitney ran off the stage and found Justin. She said, hold on, they getting along too much. I just really feel like, maybe the Salt Lake City, and let me know what y'all think about this as I close out. I don't want to slam it shut. I feel like the Salt Lake City ladies may have gotten in their head how much of a fan favorite this show is overall. So they want to give the viewers what they want to see, which is the chaos. But we also like them. We like them. We like them. Okay? I feel like, and how could I forget to mention this moment, right? We see Bronwyn interacting with her mom and her daughter, and it made so much sense of how Bronwyn is. Those are moments that I would really like to enjoy with the rest of the cast. We link Mary really latching on and feeling concerned for Meredith because of her own son who's in jail with addiction issues. These women's lives are so interesting, and the way they interact with each other, their lives are the foundation for how they interact with each other. We can't only show how they interact with each other. We got to get some of that foundation in there too. Anyway, I'm RAYCH Race Jackson. I am going to maybe, if you made it this far, thank you. I'm going to probably change a shirt and film another video and chop it up. But please tell everyone to continue to follow me on all platforms. We are going to be talking our trash, and we're going to be hanging out. All right. Thank you all so much. And let me know what you think.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Yeah.